Hey guys, and welcome back to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. Today's episode is very much for the entrepreneurial spirit, but I will also say that this episode has a lot of key takeaways about how to work with somebody you are close with. We are joined by Jake and Steph, the co-founders and cousins of Troop. Troop is an amazing mushroom supplement that comes in a very cute, yummy gummy. And in this episode, we're talking all about how spirituality has guided them in their business, how they got in touch with their spirituality, how they work together as friends, cousins, and co founders. And we learn a lot about what it really looks like to be in a business. They give amazing advice and tell amazing stories. I'm really excited for you guys to hear from the amazing co founders of Troop. Welcome to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. I'm your host, Marley Freigang, and I'm here to help you filter out all the bullshit and become the next It Girl. This podcast explores the reality of what it really takes to make it out there. As it turns out, it is way less Instagrammable than I thought it was going to be. I'm still very much a work in progress, but there's simply nothing else I'd rather be doing than chasing my dreams. So let's learn from my mistakes and work together to achieve our dreams with more confidence, clarity, and direction. Let's get after it. Okay, hi guys. Welcome, Steph and Jake. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I'm very excited to talk to you guys because you're not only co-founders, but cousins of the gummy mushroom supplement Troop. And Troop can be found in your favorite LA grocery store, Erewhon, available on Poosh by Kourtney Kardashian, Amazon, just to name a few. So I'm very excited to have you guys on the podcast today. So I want to talk a little bit about your guys' spirituality and how does spirituality play a role in your business?
Wow, that's a great question to just jump into.
We're diving in.
Yeah, I love it. I think that as the business has started and grown, it has been parallel with both of our spiritual journeys for sure. And recently, about a year ago, I started learning about Kabbalah. And it's been really cool to see how that kind of weaves in with my already existing spiritual practices.
What's Kabbalah?
So Kabbalah is technically defined as the ancient spiritual wisdom. It's not supposed to be tied with any religion, although there are a lot of similarities with Judaism, but they say it's not religiously affiliated. And I take everything with a grain of salt. I like to just kind of pick and choose from different modalities and wisdoms and everything. But one of my favorite things about Kabbalah is having 100% certainty beyond logic. And that has really played into our business. So 100% certainty. So knowing that this is going to work out, knowing that I'm on my path, even when the doubts set in, I can tell myself, no, 100% certainty. There is the philosophy that the universe wants you to have everything you desire. If you desire something, then the universe wants you to have it. And so having 100% certainty with that, and things are really challenging when you have a business. It really tests pretty much every single part of you. And it's really taxing. One minute it's so exciting and amazing, and the next minute everything feels like it's falling apart. So you really having certainty and just knowing in those moments that it's all going to be okay, it's all going to work out, has really helped me with my journey.
Jake, what about for you?
Yeah, I feel very similarly. I call it manifestation, where, I truly believe that this is what I'm meant to do. And I approach the business and life like that. And it just gives you this base level of confidence to keep going and know that if you just keep giving out positivity and you just keep giving out like this true belief that you're doing the right thing and you actually believe in what you're doing and selling, that the universe will eventually, bring back that energy to you and will bring it back tenfold. So that's kind of been what's been really helping to keep it going. And it has truly led me to become a lot more deeply spiritual going through this business, especially because it's mushrooms. Like, I feel guided by the mushrooms, and I feel like the universe guided me to mushrooms. And I was not a spiritual person before this whole thing. So yeah, I have drastically changed over the course of this, which has been really cool.
I want to get into that a little bit about how Troop got founded. So something happened to you, Jake, and Steph came to come help out. Tell us the story of the founding of Troop.
Sure. Yeah. So it was actually on day one of the COVID lockdown, March 14th, 2020. I'll always
He
remember
knows
the day.
date.
Yep.
Locked in the brain
Yep.
there.
Yeah. It was a really special day for me, a little even extra special than everyone else because I was skiing. I decided to break some of the rules and continue skiing after the mountain had closed, and then got into a really horrible ski accident and broke my leg very badly. So that was a really challenging situation. I was running another business, and that business simultaneously was collapsing because of the COVID lockdown. So I was running out of money. I couldn't take care of myself because of my broken leg. So I decided to move back home with my parents. And it was at that time that Stephanie decided to move in with my parents as well to help take care of me, like the generous cousin she is.
Shit really hit the fan there.
Yeah, major. Yeah, and it was challenging. It was extremely challenging. I was on so much pain medication. I was in just mental, physical, spiritual pain. And then one day, Stephanie just asked, "Hey, do you want to grow some mushrooms with me?" And I was like, "Sure."
Just like a COVID activity.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was after all the Netflix binging, and yeah, just a COVID activity. And then we started growing mushrooms, and from there we started like studying and researching and learning and reading, and just falling in love with mushrooms and this whole new, like, it's almost like a culture like within mushrooms, and these are plant medicines. I don't say plant, but these are medicines that have been used for thousands of years in cultures all around the world. So we kind of felt like we had tapped into this like ancient secret that people were not talking about in our modern society, which was shocking once we learned how beneficial they are for preventing illnesses versus like curing them. So if you want to add anything to that.
That pretty much covers it. But yeah, I think it was just honestly a happy accident that we discovered mushrooms. We never, or started Troop, I mean, we never really set out to go create a company or anything like that. It was just, finding something that you love, sharing it with your community, and then deciding like maybe more people are going to want this and creating a product. But it was never, let's start growing mushrooms and let's create a company and let's go try to make millions of dollars or anything like that. It was just, a passion, and then it became a side project, and then it became our lives.
Very well, and it's very much your lives because you're cousins. You kind of have like a sibling relationship from what like I kind of know of you two. How do you two not get at each other's throats while always working together? You guys also kind of run in the same friend groups. How do you handle that?
Who said that we
who said
don't?
we don't? That's
Okay,
what I was gonna say.
fair enough.
Yeah, it's that also has been a parallel to the business too. Like, I think any co-founder relationship is going to ebb and flow for sure. And we definitely continue to have challenges, like any business partnership. I remember there was one time we got in this huge fight. We were on Slack. We were on Slack. Jake was at his brother's bachelor party. I was visiting my friend in DC, and I just remember violently typing. Like, my fingers have never moved so fast. We're in this heated argument. And
Is this a public channel or is it just YouTube?
It's just us two.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I remember just being like, we need to go to therapy. And then he said, okay. And it was like, it was never even, a fight or no one had to convince anyone. We just started going to therapy.
Yeah.
And it was there was that 1 year that it was really challenging. And we went to therapy every week. And even like we would get off a fight on Slack or something and then be so angry at each other and then show up to therapy and just
Like
be
an hour
silent.
later, yeah.
And just be silent, and our therapist, David, would just be like, okay. And we would just be sitting, like, you could feel the tension even on Zoom, And yeah, so we did therapy for about a year. And then we also did therapy individually as well, because it really is, business partnerships are also your own relationship to yourself too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did therapy together, therapy individually.
Was this a work therapy? Like, did this therapist have work therapy as like a part of
Kind
it?
of, yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
cool.
He wasn't, I wouldn't necessarily say he's a business coach or anything like
Yeah.
that, but he has had experience doing, partnerships,
business
partnerships. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we still continue to have our differences and stuff, but I think, yeah, we just try to be better communicators, I guess. And yeah, it definitely has been challenging, but it's also rewarding too. And you learn a lot about yourself along the way.
So that being said, what are your each weaknesses and strengths, and how do you two balance each other out? Because I think a lot of businesses start, from a place of we both like this thing, and people want to work with people they trust, like cousins, husband wife duos,
Yeah.
siblings. So how do you guys handle that?
I mean, I have yeah. So I think when we first started, we were both kind of like, let's both do everything kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or we both had our hands in everything. And I think we've now realized what each other's strengths are more. So Jake is more finance, tech oriented. Like if we need any sort of software, he built our website. So
makes sense.
those kinds of things, more like tech savvy and all of that, and very literate with all of that stuff. And then I'm more like operations, and I love dealing with like the brand image, and I love bringing the product to life. I did a lot of that initial research. So I think those are kind of our zones of genius. And then there are some things that neither of us love, honestly, and that it's neither of our zone of genius. Like we're really working on communicating our story better and being better advertisers. And we haven't made that our zone of genius yet. So we're both contributing to that pretty equally, I would say. And I think that's kind of where our weakness lies, because Jake and I did not come from an ecom background. We didn't even know what, honestly, looking back, we didn't know what ecom was.
We didn't know we were
I
starting
don't really
an
know what
ecom
ecom
company.
is.
Exactly.
Like, what's ecom?
Like,
It's e-commerce, like just selling
Okay.
Direct to
online.
consumer.
Yeah, we didn't
It
know
seems
that's what we were doing.
ambiguous to me.
Yeah,
yeah. So we just thought, we're going to go create a product, sell it to the customers. It's going to be great.
Cheerio.
It's so much harder than that. There's so many more nuances, and so we were so royally humbled.
deeply humbled. Yeah, and continue to be.
Yeah, continue
actually.
to be
Yeah, yeah.
humbled. Yeah.
So you guys do kind of run in the same social circle as well.
Yeah.
How do you guys manage the balance, if that's a word you're into, of like turning off work time, friend time, cousin time? How do you guys handle that?
I think it was harder definitely during the years of like fighting.
Yeah.
And after
Was this
that,
also COVID-ish time?
yeah, it
Oh,
was.
yeah.
And then after that, it actually, I think, helps a lot, because the friends will be like so mad at each other. Friends will be like, relax, like chill. And we're like, all right, fine. It's not that big a deal. And also, yeah, like, yeah, Steph's,
I don't remember that our friends ever saying that, but maybe they did to you. I don't know. Like they never did that to me. But
oh, they did.
I
But
don't remember.
so Steph's dating one of my friends, and my girlfriend, both of them, they're like our support team.
Yeah.
And they're like, they really cheer us on like the hardest, both of them. And they like communicate with each other on how to best manage our relationship and like keep
I
us
love
from
that.
being
It's
fighting. Yeah.
so funny. It's so real, because it takes a village to run a company. Like
It
it's
does, yeah.
not just the physical thing, the act of the business, but the mental, emotional relationships involved in a business take like a lot more. How do you guys think you handle work-life balance? I know you guys are very all in on Troop, and really work every day to better yourselves as well. So how do you find balance? What's your recommendations to people who want to be in a situation like this on finding balance?
That's a good question. I think that answer changes all the time, honestly. I would work until maybe 10 p.m. every night and then go to bed and be able to wake up and do the same thing all over again. And it's not that I got burnt out, because I honestly didn't, but I just realized that I'm also super important.
Yes, fuck yeah.
And I deserve to have some time for myself, and there will always be more work. So, I mean, aside from this week, because we do have a lot going on, we're actually looking to raise some money. So we've been getting our decks ready. We've just had a ton of really important deliverables. But aside from this week, I really tried to stop working at around 7 or something, have dinner, and then take the time to myself and do things that I love to do. And we have a very robust friend group too. So like maybe once a week I'll hang out with my friends, and then on the weekends, and I love to travel. So I try to, schedule some stuff. Like I just went to a wedding last weekend in Mexico and didn't work Saturday and Sunday. So, that's steps.
When you're off, are you off? Like computers, like Slack channels, quiet, like phones off, away?
No, like if something comes through on Slack that I need to answer, I'll just answer it. But I go on do not disturb at like 10 p.m. and I won't answer anything past 10.
How about for you, Jake?
Yeah, work-life balance. I think that term has shifted for me largely, because like work is life and life is work. Like we are the business, like there's not a separation between us and the business. We directly are the business. So, and that was a big realization for me, similar to what Steph was saying. Like when I found out that turning off work and going to the gym, because I would be like, I got to finish this, I got to do this.
Yeah.
By doing that, I'm sharpening the number one tool that our business has is us. So when you're sharpening that tool and you're making that more refined and better, and I'll turn off like work to go read now. And when I read, I step away from work and I learn something that I then bring to work that's so much more meaningful if I was just like crunching away the hours. So I've really learned that like, yeah, you are your business, and so you need to sharpen both, and you need to sharpen yourself in order to grow the business effectively and be your most effective version of yourself.
Yeah, you guys literally started this company. I heard like making gummy concoctions in your kitchen to being in Erewhon. Like the journey is so large and vast. What do you attribute this success and growth to? Like, what do you think you guys were able to bring and merge together to, get this running start with your company? Like, it's still pretty young.
Yeah, it is pretty young. I think we had a brilliant concept and idea, and I think we're lucky on the timing. Like we were the first mushroom gummy out there, and especially the first with like a really refined, excellent brand that people could trust. And our vision from the start is still our vision now. And we, sometimes along the years we'll lose our vision, but we always come back to the original vision that we started with. We're like, wow, we were right all along, which was to make mushrooms approachable to more people. We wanted more people to feel comfortable taking mushrooms, trying mushrooms. And we wanted, because like there's a lot of stigmas and fears around mushrooms and a lot of like ignorance around it. So we wanted to educate people and be the educators of what these powerful mushrooms can do for you. And we wanted to do that in a way that was fun and friendly and not like intimidating, because we felt like a lot of the products out there were kind of intimidating. They're very like hippie, like you gotta
it's just
eat
like
a
I'm
pound of dirt every day and then you'll be one with the universe, and we're like, whoa. I just like want something that's gonna like lessen my anxiety, like I don't need to jump straight to the end result of being enlightened guru. Like that's not where we came from. Like I said, I was not spiritual at all before this. I just was like, I want something that's going to help me focus, lessen my anxiety, and a way and that is easy and fun. And so that's why we developed the gummy. We wanted it to just be so simple.
Do you use Troop while working on Troop? And what do you use when and why?
I have all the products on my desk. Yeah, I take them every day.
So
Same.
If you're going into a bunch of work meetings and you're really stressed out, which product are you grabbing?
Reishi.
Great. Why?
It helps calm and de-stress. I like taking reishi in the morning because it just helps mitigate and regulate the stress levels in the body. Jake likes taking it at night because it helps him sleep.
So tell me the other products and when you would probably take those.
Yeah.
Like lion's mane, I take first thing in the morning because it helps clear the brain fog. So I have traditionally had bad brain fog in the mornings, and I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, honestly. And that I take that, and after like 30, 45 minutes, I feel like a noticeable improvement in the brain fog, and then I can continue. And now when I'm pairing that, we never say this is like a one solution fix all.
Yeah.
And I'm pairing that with like a morning like meditation and doing some intentional morning things to help clear that brain fog. It's really powerful.
And what else is there in the catalog? Did we touch on both of them?
Then we have the Super Troop, which is our 6 mushroom blend.
Ooh, do tell.
Yes, so it has lion's mane, reishi, chaga, maitake, cordyceps, and turkey tail.
Wow.
And this is more
All in one.
All in one. Yeah.
So you don't have to go get a million supplements to get all this.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
And this one, it has cordyceps and lion's mane, so it gives you that brain boost, energy. So I like taking that kind of after lunch as a midday pick-me-up or something like that. I'll sometimes take it in the morning too. But yeah, lion's mane and Super Troop, I don't really take past, a certain hour because it will keep me up at night.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So, there's been some stressful nights, some stressful things in the business that you guys have mentioned. Tell me about a time in your guys' journey in this business that things were really hard. Paint the stage, paint the picture for us. How did you guys work through it as a team?
The first thing that comes to my mind is about this time last year. So we had a hellish journey finding our manufacturing partner. It was so horrible. We went through maybe 6 different companies until we found the company who we're with now. And this time last year, we didn't have a manufacturer. We were out of product for a month.
Oh, no.
Over a month. We lost an entire month of revenue. And we had no idea how we were going to be getting this product. This manufacturing company had actually courted us to go work with them. And then they kept on pushing back the date of when they would have our product. And they were a month past where they said.
And not just pushing back, they were like flat out lying.
Lying to us.
My
Okay.
face. Yeah, like, hey, it'll be ready tomorrow. And then tomorrow, hey, sorry, there was a problem at the factory. They did that maybe like 7 times. Like, they're working on it right now. And I'm like, well, where is it?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
know?
It
great.
was horrible.
Yeah.
And so we didn't know what we were going to do. And so it felt like the company was going to crumble. And I think deep down through all of the huge challenges, I still know like in my gut that it's all going to work out. But this really tested it and it really covered up that part of me. And I just actually remember I was writing down, I journal every morning and I was writing down in my journal every cliche you can imagine. I need to take a picture of this one day. But I was like, this too shall pass. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. This wouldn't happen if you couldn't handle it. Like I was telling myself every single cliche. It was so dumb. But yeah, it was so immensely challenging. And luckily we ended up finding our partner and they turned it out for us really quickly. And
But
now,
not before we found out that,
Oh, yes.
that manufacturer was that whole time that they were delaying us, installing us.
Yeah.
They were manufacturing another mushroom gummy for our biggest competitor. So
Oh,
they were
boy.
like what we still think they were intentionally stalling us.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just to like let the other people get on
ahead.
the on the market and get on the shelves. And so it was like it was like out of a movie. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah,
It was
that
like,
sounds like a plot to a
it
film.
literally was. It was like corporate espionage.
Yes,
you know?
Yeah. We actually, so these guys were in San Diego, so we just kind of sprung visits on them.
Smart.
Yeah. And I remember one time I went and this guy texted Jake and was like, can you tell Stephanie to stop yelling at my employees? And there was no one in the room. Like
Yeah,
I had
he was
asked-
freaking out. He was like, she's attacking us.
because
And
I was
he knew he
driven
was
down there and
sketch.
I scared and
Yeah.
and then I talked to his boss and his boss had no idea what was going on. He had
Oh,
no
God.
idea that he had promised us all of these things and that we were so behind in XYZ.
Yeah.
And so the boss ended up letting us use his one of his gummy makers. And the guy came in on the weekend and made us a really small batch just to tie us over until we got to our new manufacturer.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what were you mentally physically doing just to like keep the business together? Because I think everyone thinks
Crying.
like, oh, you just
Crying.
have to cry.
So much anxiety.
I mean, let the emotions out. We love.
Yeah. So much anxiety. Actually, one of our friends, Jake, was going with one of our friends to this YouTube thing. I don't know. And they ended up making a rap about this
We
situation.
made a rap, yeah. It was dark comedy,
Yeah.
you know? It was dark.
So use comedy as relief.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
cry.
yeah.
Crying, so much crying.
And is it just like kind of part of the business journey, you feel like?
Yeah. I mean, from what I've heard, this is not anything new for small companies. It's a small, I mean, it's not small. It's an unfortunate fact that when you're small, no one really cares about you when you're in the manufacturing business, especially because these companies are dealing with other companies, but that have so much larger order volumes and all of that kind of stuff. And so we're still small, and you really have to find someone who believes in you and believes in your vision. And I think that's the same struggle that any single company, you know, the founder of Spanx, I'm blanking on her name right now, Sarah Blakely.
Yeah.
Sarah Blakely, she had the same thing. She went from manufacturer to manufacturer, and no one wanted to make her product. And in hindsight, obviously, everyone's kicking themselves. But in that moment, you really have to find someone who believes in you and believes in what you're doing.
And is just a good business partner.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of not serious people in business across all business who, you know, are just in it for a quick buck. And you need to find the people who they make it a passion, their business, you know, and that's the people you want to work with. And yeah, I think this is just a thing also for new entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
You know, we were just starting this business. We came in with zero industry knowledge at all. And now that we're in the industry, we know like 50 different manufacturers we can go to at a moment's notice. You know, we know
Right.
all the different vendors and the people. But when you're totally new, you know nothing. So it's all just trial and error.
Speaking of a little bit of finding the right people to work with and whatnot, I can't ignore the fact that, you know, you're a male, female co-founders. And so, Steph, I wanted to ask you, how has there been any conversations where, you know, people will kind of default to Jake and you feel like it's just because it's male? How do you, Jake, like redirect it? You know, how do you both show up as equal partners? How do you handle that?
I for sure have felt that people default to Jake, and I've also felt that there can be this kind of like bro-y fraternity thing that goes on in business. And when we hop on calls with investors and stuff, it's predominantly men, and I've noticed that, and it doesn't bother me, but I have noticed it. And actually, you know, I will say at the beginning I was a little bit intimidated by just being on a call with like 6 men that were all business people, and I had imposter syndrome. I was like, maybe I don't belong here, you know, or something like that. But I really had to work through that. And I'm like, no, I do belong here. And like, this is, you know, equally my company. And I don't really think that anyone kind of puts me below Jake or anything like that. But yeah, it just has been really interesting being a female in a male dominated world.
Yeah, no, it's definitely just, we can only hope that things get better and better, but like we can't ignore that sometimes default settings, known or unknown, are still there. And Jake, have you noticed, or how do you feel like you redirect it? Has there been conversations about it behind closed doors or anything?
Yeah, I think in the beginning I didn't notice it because it
That
just
makes
wasn't
sense,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't
Exactly.
something that I paid attention to. You know,
Yeah.
like it was not in my universe. I just kind of like moved along. You know, and it wasn't something I ever focused on. But Stephanie did bring it up to me in those early days, and then after that, when I would notice it, I definitely would always try to be always more inclusive. Like us, we're co-founders. Oh, we're co-founders. You know, it's not like just me. It's us, you know, when we make the decision, whatever we decide, it'll be. So, yeah.
So I want to go back to those, you know, initial days, and you guys are getting into mushrooms. Like, why did you have to choose mushrooms, and which mushroom did you guys start with? Like, there's so much hype around mushrooms. I just want people to understand why this was important to you guys to do.
Yeah. What really initially struck my interest about mushrooms, So I was introduced through functional mushrooms, or two functional mushrooms through psilocybin mushrooms. So
Which are magic mushrooms.
magic
Yes,
mushrooms. Yeah.
I'm learning day by day. I'm the basic bitch who doesn't understand the difference. I'm like, we're all on drugs, right? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Moving
exactly.
on.
So we're here to clear the slate.
Clear its slate.
Clear the slate. So yeah, I was introduced to the world of mushrooms through magic mushrooms, and I had done them previously, and no intentionality behind it. And then fast forward to COVID, I was reading this book, How to Change Your Mind, and I didn't know that mushrooms were actually have neuroplasticity effects on your brain, and they can help you rewire thought patterns and stories in your brain. And my initial thought was, wow, I have so many thought patterns about myself that I don't want to have anymore, and I can rewrite that story for myself. So that's what really drew my interest in mushrooms. And then I started researching and realizing, wow, there's this whole group of mushrooms that have been used for thousands of years in cultures all around the world that have amazing benefits for your mind and also for your body. And so that's what really sprung the interest. And I was like, Jake, we got to start growing these. And without hesitation, he said yes. And so we started with lion's mane, and that was...
You're just growing in the backyard, or like
in the
what?
closet.
In the closet.
Actually,
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we started with lion's mane, and when we started, it's like the world opened up for us. We started meeting all kinds of people that were in this space. We met, I was at a friend's barbecue, and I met this guy who was a mycologist, which is a mushroom farmer, basically.
Very cool.
Yeah, and so he was working with us and growing things, and he had all the latest research, and he was just such a cool person to liaise with. And then just we started meeting people. It's like, I don't know, it's like the mycelial effect. It's this underground structure of mushrooms that connects the ecosystems. It's kind of like that's how life is for us. Like we're all interconnected in some way or the other. And yeah, the world just really opened up for us, and it was really exciting and almost validating that we were on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, when did you start to realize like mushrooms really were for you and for the company?
Yeah, so we started growing them for a while, and that was really exciting. And then during the research phase, we watched the movie Fantastic Fungi, which is on Netflix. It has 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah.
It's
like
amazing.
One of the few. It's
Okay, that's so
incredible,
cool.
incredible movie. And that just like blew my world open. Like I am a very like science-backed, science-oriented type of guy. I was very anti-froofy, anti like the whole spirituality woo-woo, like very against all of that. And this
Wow.
movie went so into the science and all these things, and it felt to me like we were on, like I always imagine if we find an alien planet that has life on it, like all this plants and species, we would go over there and we'd be testing like crazy all of the new species and discovering. And then I found out that there are millions of species of mushroom on this earth that are still undiscovered. So it was like this new frontier of science that we had not yet broken into, like as a culture, as a civilization. And so I was like, there could be a mushroom out there that has insane impact that helps cure cancer. There could be a mushroom that it helps, with skin and nails. There could be a mushroom that helps with eyesight. There could be all these different types of mushrooms that we don't know of yet. And already the ones we did know of were so powerful and impactful that had been used for thousands of years. It was like, why is this not front page news? I was so confused how this wasn't everywhere. And since then, it has started to become everywhere, you know? And now it's like everyone's talking mushrooms. And also with psilocybin, I truly believe is like the cure to mental health on Earth, on our planet. I think it's going to drastically change the mental health landscape of our whole planet, and like eradicating things like depression, anxiety, not eradicating, but
Insanely
giving,
assisting.
yes, exactly. Like giving a extremely powerful tool to help with those things, and not just to wipe them out like an SSRI does, which I consider like a Band-Aid on an open wound. This is like going to the core and actually healing down to your core what's really causing that anxiety and depression and all these different things that's blocking you from living your happiest life.
Mhm.
So together with the functional mushrooms healing the body and the psychedelic healing the mind, I'm like, it's the ultimate, it's the ultimate kingdom,
It's
the
the
fungi
recipe.
kingdom. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the recipe to get you where you want to be mentally, physically, emotionally, and hopefully spiritually as well.
exactly.
So, when you pick up Troop, they don't necessarily look like a mushroom. They're a beautiful gummy.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit just to get like nerdy with it. Like, how was this made? How did you like put a mushroom into a gummy?
It is so much harder than it looks.
Yeah, it seems like so easy.
It seems
and cute.
so easy, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, so cute.
If we had known, I honestly don't know if we would have done it.
Really?
I mean, maybe, but it's so complicated. It's basically a chemistry project making a gummy. So there's also not that much information online.
Yeah.
So we initially went in the kitchen. My friends call me Chefney, and
Love it.
one of my friends got me chef hats for my birthday.
Adorable.
And we put on these chef hats the first time we made the gummy. So we have a photo of our first test batch. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, we made gummies and we just followed this at home vitamin gummy recipe, and it was a huge failure. It was so disgusting, and there was like too much like gelatin at the time. Our first iteration had gelatin. You could literally like flick this gummy and it would just like go back.
It was like rubber.
It was
You could bounce
rubbery.
Okay.
It was not it. And we tried it, and it was just not at all what we wanted. We kept on iterating, and we never really nailed it, honestly. And then we ended up going on LinkedIn and finding a gummy scientist.
What?
Which is a real profession.
That's
It's a real profession.
It feels like in the secret gate with like the 31 flavors tester guy. Like they hang out.
Exactly. And this guy, he had been doing it for decades, and
Damn.
it's crazy actually. Our manufacturing company ended up hiring him randomly.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was so
Without-
kismet.
yeah.
Without them knowing that we had worked with him, it was so kismet. Anyway, so we got on the phone with him, and we said all of our criteria. We said no high fructose corn syrup or dyes, no artificial
Hell yeah.
ingredients, all natural, real fruit flavors. We don't want to use allulose, which is linked to stomach issues.
What is
It's like sugar
It's a sugar.
alcohols.
Yeah,
Okay.
it allows you to be sugar free on your label. However, a lot of people report digestive issues.
Oh.
Yeah,
And it's not allowed in the EU. So we're like, this doesn't seem super safe just so we could say no sugar, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we wanted it to be vegan.
Okay.
So all of these criteria, and
That's a tough list going in.
It's a tough list. So
And delicious.
Oh, and
Let's
delicious,
not
of
forget, it
course.
has to
Like-
be delicious. From the start, we said, why be a gummy if you're not delicious?
No, it's so true.
exactly,
Yeah.
and you can't be a health food gummy if you put all that crap in it.
No.
Yeah.
So we said no junk and delicious. So he started making us products, and it was actually really fun. I still have the bags at home, all the plastic bags with the labels and stuff and the dates of all the samples he would send us, and we would come back to him, 10% too much flavor. We started really noticing all of the different components of the gummy and how to tweak them. So we would say, too much of this, a little
I was
less of
like,
that.
try 10% less citric acid. I was like really
Yeah.
specific, and now I could taste it in a gummy.
So
all
now
the
your
things-
palates for gummies
Yeah.
are
Oh,
very
we're
large too.
connoisseurs for sure. For sure. So yeah, that was actually really, really fun. And I realized that's something I love is product development. Like I cannot wait till we launch new products, doing all the research and finding the best ingredients and finding the best sourcing. I live off that. I love that so much. And it was the most fun process bringing it to life. And yeah, we have so many samples. I got to show you a video of all of these samples that we have. It's like a full bin, a storage bin just filled with samples from different companies.
So it wasn't just like one and done and you have a
Oh
product.
no, it was a
It
year.
was like a year of testing and
Yeah.
iterating because the mushrooms they're powerful. We put a lot
Yeah.
of mushrooms. Like we wanted to have the highest concentration of mushrooms of any other product so that our goal was a 1-for-1 replacement from the pills or the
Wow.
tinctures. So like if you're currently taking like mushroom capsules,
Yeah.
we wanted it to be a direct replacement with no loss. Like you're not getting, I'm getting less mushrooms, but it's in a gummy. We wanted it to be exactly equal so that you can just say, why would I take a capsule when I take a gummy and it's the same amount of mushrooms?
Smart.
Yeah. So it was not easy to mask that flavor. And it
Yeah.
took a long time with a lot of iterations. And we finally came up with 3 products that are just like so honestly so good that sometimes I feel like we almost made them too good, because people are like, I can't buy this because I'm going to eat it all at once. And I'm like,
Can you eat it all at
once?
I mean, it's not recommended, but
Yeah.
they're safe and non-toxic. So nothing bad's going to happen, but it's not recommended.
So let's not down a bottle
Yeah.
of Troop just for fun, but
Yeah.
like you won't die if you do.
Yeah.
Right. But
Okay,
I
good.
definitely have more than the serving size every day. I'm not going to lie. They are delicious.
I'll say like there's definitely been ups and downs in this journey of getting Troop to where it is. If you guys were to do it all over again, what would you say to yourselves going into this journey?
Good luck.
I would have spent the money so differently, and I would have done so much more research on e-commerce. And yeah, the first year we basically did no online advertising, which is now to us absolutely insane. We invested a lot in real life events and grocery store demos and things like that, which of course have benefits. But if you look at all these really big companies, they're doing that later down the line when they already have an established base. And we initially thought, I don't know where we got this in our heads, but we initially thought that people needed to try the product. But the fact of the matter is that the way people are purchasing has changed so much.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet you didn't go to the furniture store and buy your bed.
That I did, but not the rug.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, the rug. People are buying things without trying them. Perfumes and furniture and
Right.
couches, all these things. So people actually don't need to try the product, and we have a money back guarantee. So if for some reason they don't like it, it's risk free. We'll give them back their money. So we learned that the hard way. We did so many different sampling campaigns, shows. We partnered with this one company to do an exhibition in their store. We just like all this dumb shit.
But you got to learn by doing some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
well,
about for you, Jake?
Yeah, definitely research would be great. Reading books. There are books on doing exactly what you want to do, whatever it is you want to do. There are books written on exactly how to do it. And find those books and read those books. Because like now that we're reading them, I'm like, oh my God, it's so obvious. So obvious, and but it's not obvious when you're not in that world. And all the information is out there. Literally all the information of how to be successful in whatever you want to do is out there. You just got to go find it. So I would also say talk to more industry experts, like find people in the industry, ask them these exact questions that you're asking us right now. What would you do different when you started? And really listen to that and take it. And even if it sounds completely wrong to you, you can't listen to yourself because you don't know. You have no idea. You got no experience in the game. So really listen to those people with more experience.
Yeah, I was actually just listening to a podcast on the way over here with Allie Webb, who founded Dry Bar. And someone asked her what the difference is between intuition and delusion. And I feel like, it was almost delusional to be doing it differently than all of the other successful companies. So yeah, I think really taking note, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah. Jake and Steph, you guys are so wonderful. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to be on the podcast. Can you tell everybody where they can find you personally, find Troop, all the good things?
Yeah. We have a website, www.trytroop.com. That's TRYTROOP.com. They can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at TryTroop for some fun mushroom related content. And we're also on Amazon. And for all of your listeners, if they want to try the product, we created a code Confessions20.
Woo!
Yeah, so they get 20% off.
I was thinking
love
It Girl 20.
We could be It Girl 20, but what if you're
Whatever you guys want.
boy?
We'll make them both. And
We'll
see
make them
which-
both. Okay.
Sure.
It Girl 20 or Confessions 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Love
Either
it.
or. And we're at Erewhon and some other local health food stores in Southern California.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yay. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. This was fun.
Thank you so much for listening to Confessions of a Wannabe It Girl. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the show. As always, we'll see you next Tuesday.